No, it'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 2, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
And then it will carry on there.
What if everything you thought you knew about Hollywood's friendliest daytime talk show host was nothing more than a meticulously crafted billion-dollar mask designed to hide a human trafficking pipeline? Take a deep breath, because what you are about to hear is not just a Hollywood scandal. It is a blood-curdling nightmare that involves locked basement doors, armed private security, confiscated cell phones, and a terrifying midnight warning from actor Rob Schneider that has sent absolute shockwaves through the federal justice system. For years, the world laughed at that awkward 2019 television clip where Lori Harvey publicly humiliated Ellen DeGeneres over a missed birthday invitation. We thought it was just petty celebrity shade. We were dead wrong. According to an explosive, top-secret whistleblower dossier leaked directly from federal investigators raiding Sean Diddy Combs' estates, and corroborated by a shaking, visibly terrified Rob Schneider, that birthday party was a desperate, coded distress signal. Schneider has just stepped in front of the cameras to issue a chilling public warning, revealing the sickening reality of what Ellen DeGeneres actually tried to force Lori Harvey to do inside the pitch-black, soundproof VIP sub-basement of Diddy's Star Island mansion. Ellen didn't just invite Lori to a party, she allegedly lured her into a locked room trap with a predator. And when Lori fought her way out, Ellen made a promise that should terrify every single person watching this video. Do not click away, because by the end of this breakdown, you will never look at daytime television, or Ellen's sudden, panicked flight to England, the same way again. To understand the sheer magnitude of the horror that unfolded behind the heavy oak doors of Sean Diddy Combs' waterfront compound, we have to travel back and completely dismantle the greatest psychological illusion ever sold to the American public: the myth of Ellen DeGeneres. For nearly 2 decades, Ellen reigned supreme as the untouchable Queen of Nice. She danced down studio aisles in custom sneakers, handed out oversized novelty checks to crying single mothers, and ended every single broadcast with her trademark hypnotic mantra: "Be kind to one another." It was a multi-billion-dollar empire built on the manufactured perception of safety, warmth, and maternal protection. Parents trusted her. Middle America adored her. Young, wide-eyed actors and actresses arriving in Los Angeles viewed an invitation to sit on Ellen's white leather couch as the ultimate baptism into Hollywood royalty. If Ellen endorsed you, you were safe. If Ellen loved you, the industry embraced you. But behind the pastel-colored stage lights and the aggressively cheerful acoustic music, a deeply sinister reality was festering. A toxic, predatory ecosystem that insiders now describe as an authoritarian cult. Long before her talk show was unceremoniously canceled in 2022 amidst a tsunami of workplace abuse allegations, whispers had circulated through the dark corridors of Burbank Studios. Former producers, writers, and camera operators, many bound by ironclad, multi-million-dollar non-disclosure agreements, spoke of an atmosphere ruled by paralyzing terror. Staff members were allegedly strictly forbidden from making direct eye contact with the host. Assistants were subjected to psychological torture over minor infractions, like the temperature of a latte or the texture of a dressing room rug. Yet, workplace bullying was merely the surface-level rot. The true darkness lay in Ellen's elite social calendar. While she projected the image of a homebody who loved board games and rescuing animals, Ellen was, in reality, deeply entrenched in the most exclusive, debauched, and legally untouchable power circles of the entertainment industry. And at the absolute center of that untouchable circle sat Sean Diddy Combs. For years, the public viewed Ellen and Diddy's relationship as an eccentric pairing of 2 mega-wealthy media moguls. He appeared on her show repeatedly, showering her with expensive gifts, engaging in flirtatious banter, and explicitly discussing his legendary multi-day white parties. In one now infamous, skin-crawling archival clip from 2016 that has recently resurfaced with millions of views, Diddy leans across the armrest, looks Ellen dead in the eye, and describes his parties lasting from 9:30 p.m. until 3 o'clock in the morning, before adding with a predatory smirk, "And then we have the top 2 floors of the hotel, and then it will carry on there." Ellen didn't gasp. She didn't recoil. She laughed. A knowing, conspiratorial laugh that signaled absolute complicity. She didn't ask what happened on those top 2 floors. She didn't need to. According to federal investigators and veteran Hollywood whistleblowers, Ellen wasn't just a guest at Diddy's notorious freak-offs. She was allegedly one of his primary celebrity gatekeepers, a trusted, disarming recruiter whose public persona of harmless, asexual benevolence made her the ultimate bait to lure hesitant, high-profile young women into Combs' web of exploitation. Enter Lori Harvey. In the late 2010s, Lori was Hollywood's most coveted rising star. Following the global box office explosion of the 50 Shades of Grey franchise, she was catapulted into the upper echelon of A-list fame. Beautiful, intelligent, and possessing Hollywood royalty bloodlines as the daughter of Don Lori Harvey and Melanie Griffith, Lori was fiercely independent. Unlike the desperate, struggling starlets who could easily be manipulated with promises of fame, Lori didn't need Diddy's money, and she certainly didn't need Ellen's validation. This independence made her an obsession for the predatory power brokers of Los Angeles. To break someone like Lori, to bring her into the fold of the underground elite, required a trap set by someone she explicitly trusted. And then there is Rob Schneider. For decades, Schneider was dismissed by mainstream media outlets as a comedic sidekick, a veteran of Saturday Night Live and Adam Sandler comedies who eventually drifted to the political and cultural fringes. The establishment media painted him as a paranoid conspiracy theorist whenever he spoke out against industry corruption. But what the public didn't realize was that Schneider's transition from Hollywood insider to vocal outcast was not an accident. It was a survival mechanism. Schneider had spent over 30 years navigating the underbelly of major film studios. He had attended the private after-parties in the Hollywood Hills. He had seen the locked bedrooms, the bowls of pharmaceutical-grade narcotics left on mahogany coffee tables, and the terrified, glassy-eyed teenagers being escorted through service elevators by A-list directors and producers. Years ago, Schneider gave a harrowing interview describing how, as a young actor, a famous director lured him into a hotel room, answered the door in a bathrobe, and ordered Schneider to crawl on his belly across the carpet to prove his commitment to the art. Schneider walked out, and from that moment on, he kept a mental ledger of every monster in the business. For years, Schneider tried to warn younger actors. He tried to blow the whistle on the intricate network of agents, publicists, and daytime hosts who acted as the procurement division for Hollywood's mega predators. He was laughed out of executive suites, blacklisted from major studio productions, and systematically smeared by entertainment journalists on the payroll of major PR firms. Until now. With Sean Combs sitting in a federal detention center in Brooklyn facing life imprisonment for racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution, the dam has officially shattered. The federal grand jury subpoenas have flown. The encrypted hard drives seized from Diddy's Miami and Los Angeles mansions have been decrypted by FBI forensic analysts, and the names of the enablers are leaking out. When Rob Schneider saw the pieces connecting, when he realized that the federal investigation into Diddy's freak-offs had finally intersected with the sudden, suspicious exile of Ellen DeGeneres to a rural estate in the English countryside, he knew he could no longer remain silent. He knew the exact context of what happened between Ellen and Lori Harvey. He knew that the famous November 2019 television confrontation wasn't about a birthday cake. It was the public detonation of a deeply buried crime. It was Lori Harvey looking her alleged procurer in the eye on national television, and signaling to the entire world that she had survived the trap. And as Schneider has now revealed, the events leading up to that viral television moment are more violent, more disturbing, and more diabolical than anyone could have ever imagined. The date was October 14, 2018. The location was Star Island, Miami, a hyper-exclusive, gated enclave accessible only by a single heavily guarded causeway or private yacht. Sean Diddy Combs was hosting what was officially billed on the invitation cards as an intimate creative summit and post-awards soiree. According to an explosive 18-page sworn affidavit provided to federal prosecutors by a former private security contractor who worked the event, and whose testimony has been directly corroborated by Rob Schneider in his chilling new video broadcast, the guest list was strictly divided into two distinct tiers. The ground floor and pool deck were populated by hundreds of mainstream celebrities, Grammy winners, tech billionaires, and social media influencers. There were open bars, gourmet catering, fire dancers, and loud hip-hop music echoing across Biscayne Bay. It was the ultimate Instagram spectacle, designed entirely for public consumption. However, beneath the infinity pool, accessible only through a biometric keypad hidden inside a climate-controlled wine cellar, lay the sub-basement. Insiders referred to this subterranean labyrinth simply as the pit. According to Schneider's harrowing account, Lori Harvey had arrived at the mansion around 10:30 p.m., explicitly at the personal, persistent urging of Ellen DeGeneres. For weeks leading up to the event, Ellen had allegedly bombarded Lori's personal cell phone with voice notes and text messages, insisting that Diddy wanted to finance an independent production company for Lori, and that a private, quiet sit-down at his Miami estate was the only way to seal the deal. Trusting Ellen's matriarchal facade, Lori attended without her usual security detail or publicist, accompanied only by a junior assistant. The moment Lori stepped through the grand foyer, the trap was sprung. I spoke to a member of the catering staff who was hiding in the service corridor that night, Rob Schneider revealed in his viral, voice-cracking broadcast, looking directly into the camera lens with bloodshot eyes. He told me he watched Ellen DeGeneres physically take Lori Harvey by the elbow. Ellen was smiling that dead, shark-eyed smile she uses on TV, telling Lori, "Come downstairs, honey, Sean has a private screening room set up for us. No cameras, no noise, just family." Lori's assistant tried to follow them, and two of Diddy's private security guards, massive guys built like linebackers, stepped in front of her and confiscated her phone. They told her she wasn't on the VIP clearance list. What happened next inside the pit sounds like a scene ripped directly from a psychological horror film. As Ellen guided Lori out of the service elevator and into a dimly lit, subterranean corridor smelling heavily of exotic incense, baby oil, and industrial bleach, the heavy steel elevator doors slid shut and locked automatically behind them. There were no cell service signals. The walls were lined with soundproofing foam disguised behind plush velvet drapery. At the end of the hallway stood a single, reinforced mahogany door guarded by Diddy's personal head of security. According to leaked transcripts of the federal whistleblower's testimony, Ellen turned to Lori just steps before the door, her cheerful demeanor vanishing in an instant, replaced by an icy authoritarian glare. "When we walk in there," Ellen allegedly whispered, her fingers digging painfully into Lori's forearm, "you do not speak unless Sean speaks to you. You drink what he hands you. And if he asks you to stay for the after-hours session, you say yes. This is how you secure your future in this town, Lori. Don't embarrass me." Lori Harvey immediately realized she had been walked into a slaughterhouse. Inside the room, Sean Combs was allegedly waiting, lounging on a sprawling, custom-built circular bed surrounded by professional lighting rigs, high-definition tripod cameras, and several glass vials of unidentifiable liquid narcotics. Two other prominent male music executives were reportedly in the room, already stripped to their undershirts. When Lori instinctively stopped in her tracks and attempted to pull her arm away from Ellen, the situation exploded into sheer panic. "Lori isn't some naive kid from the Midwest," Schneider explained, his voice trembling with a mixture of rage and awe. "She grew up around the predators of the 1980s and 90s. She smelled the setup immediately. She looked at Diddy, she looked at the cameras, and she turned around to bolt back toward the elevator. But Ellen DeGeneres blocked her path." According to the leaked security affidavit, Ellen physically interposed herself between Lori and the exit hallway, placing both hands flat against Lori's chest and shoving her backward toward the bedroom door. An intense, muffled screaming match echoed through the soundproofed corridor, a confrontation so violent that the catering staff member hiding in the adjacent pantry alcove activated his digital voice recorder. In the allegedly leaked audio snippet, which has since been subpoenaed by the Southern District of New York and described in vivid detail by legal analysts, a voice distinctly matching Lori Harvey's can be heard hyperventilating and screaming, "Get your fucking hands off me, Ellen. Unlock the elevator right now." Ellen's response was not the voice of Dory the fish. It was a guttural, venomous hiss. "You spoiled little brat. Do you have any idea who you are dealing with? You don't walk out on him. You don't say no to Sean, and you sure as hell don't say no to me. I can make one phone call and ensure you never work on a major studio lot for the rest of your pathetic life." Then came the confrontation with Diddy himself. Hearing the commotion, Combs allegedly stepped out of the bedroom, holding a crystal glass filled with a pinkish, spiked cocktail. He reportedly smiled, attempting to play the role of the calm mediator, telling Lori, "Baby girl, relax, Ellen's just showing you the real Hollywood. Drink this, let your hair down. We're making art tonight." Instead of cowering, Lori Harvey went feral. Drawing on pure survival instinct, She allegedly kicked backward, driving her stiletto heel directly into the shin of Diddy's head of security, causing the massive guard to stumble into a decorative glass console table. As the glass shattered with a deafening crash, setting off a localized security alarm in the sub-basement, absolute chaos erupted. Taking advantage of the momentary confusion, Lori didn't just run for the emergency stairwell. She did something that would permanently alter the balance of power in Hollywood. And here is the first shocking twist that makes this nightmare 10 times worse than anyone expected. As Diddy lunged forward to grab her, knocking over a portable workstation table near the bedroom door, Lori's hand brushed against an open military-grade titanium laptop bag resting on the floor. Inside was a bright red biometric encrypted Kingston USB flash drive, a drive that Diddy's personal videographer had just ejected from the master recording console. In a split-second act of sheer desperation and defiance, Lori Harvey snatched the red flash drive, shoved it into her clutch purse, bolted through the emergency fire exit door, and sprinted up 3 flights of concrete stairs into the humid Miami night. She didn't just escape the freak off. She escaped with the master digital keys to Sean Combs and Ellen DeGeneres' entire blackmail empire. And as she smashed the emergency glass to exit the ground floor security perimeter, running barefoot down Star Island Drive toward a passing rideshare vehicle, Ellen DeGeneres was reportedly standing at the top of the stairwell, screaming into her phone, ordering private security to lock down the island and hunt her down before she reached the mainland. The revelation of the red drive has completely fractured the internet. Within 48 hours of Rob Schneider dropping his unfiltered, 45-minute video broadcast detailing the Miami escape, the digital landscape erupted into a digital civil war. The hashtag Ellen the Gatekeeper garnered over 4.2 million posts on X, formerly Twitter, in less than 12 hours, completely overtaking global news cycles. TikTok algorithms were flooded with frame-by-frame body language breakdowns of every single interaction Ellen DeGeneres ever had with young female celebrities on her show. The 2019 Lori Harvey interview clip, the famous "Actually no, that's not the truth Ellen" moment, was suddenly viewed through a horrifying new lens. "Look at Ellen's eyes in that 2019 clip," screamed pop culture commentator and investigative journalist Sloan in a viral video that amassed 15 million views overnight. When Lori says, "You were invited," look at Ellen's neck muscles. Look at the micro-expression of pure, unadulterated panic. Lori wasn't talking about a birthday party. She was looking Ellen dead in the face on national television, in front of 4 million daytime viewers and saying, "I survived your trap, I have the red flash drive, and if you ever try to destroy my career, I will hand it to the FBI." That entire interview was a high-stakes hostage negotiation disguised as daytime banter. The industry backlash was instantaneous and brutal. Mainstream Hollywood PR machines went into absolute overdrive, desperately attempting to scrub the internet of Schneider's video. YouTube reportedly faced massive legal pressure from high-powered entertainment law firms representing anonymous Jane Does to pull the video down for violating community harassment guidelines. But it was too late. Millions of users had already ripped, downloaded, and mirrored the broadcast across Telegram, Rumble, and decentralized servers. Then the celebrity wall of silence began to crumble. Comedian Kathy Griffin, who had a long-standing bitter public feud with Ellen, took to Instagram Live at 2 a.m., holding a glass of wine with visibly shaking hands. "Rob Schneider is telling the truth," Griffin stated bluntly, her voice devoid of its usual comedic sarcasm. "I've known Ellen since the 1980s comedy club days. She is not a nice person, she is a syndicate boss. She and Diddy ran a pipeline. If you didn't play ball at the private estates, your pilots got canceled, your auditions dried up, and you were labeled difficult to work with." Lori Harvey is a goddamn hero for walking out of that basement with her soul intact. Rapper 50 Cent, Diddy's most relentless public nemesis, immediately poured gasoline on the inferno. He posted a screenshot of Ellen and Diddy hugging at a 2017 awards show with the caption, "Eyes damn, they got Dory running a trafficking ring. I told y'all Puffy was moving weird. Now the daytime lady got the feds checking her chicken coop in London. Get the strap. Survive Diddy, Ellen exposed." Meanwhile, inside the corporate offices of Hollywood's premier talent agencies, Creative Artists Agency (CAA) and William Morris Endeavor (WME), absolute panic set in. An anonymous senior talent agent leaked a frantic company-wide internal memo to The Hollywood Reporter. The email, marked urgent/confidential, explicitly instructed all agents to immediately audit their clients' social media histories and delete any photographs, videos, or positive mentions of attending private events hosted by either Sean Combs or Ellen DeGeneres between the years 2010 and 2022. "It's a bloodbath over here," the anonymous agent confessed in an encrypted voice note played on a popular true crime podcast. Half the A-list actresses in Hollywood are terrified because they went to those parties. The other half are terrified because they know Ellen kept detailed records of who refused to go. Ellen was the ultimate intelligence broker. She knew everyone's secrets, everyone's vices, and everyone's price tag. From her sprawling, newly purchased multi-million-dollar stone estate in the Cotswolds, England, where she abruptly fled following Diddy's arrest under the flimsy public excuse of escaping American politics, Ellen DeGeneres unleashed her legal attack dogs. Her lead attorney, Marty Singer, issued a scorching, threatening press release to major news networks. The statements made by Mr. Rob Schneider are categorically false, defamatory, and the product of a deeply disturbed, attention-seeking conspiracy theorist. Ms. DeGeneres has never engaged in any unlawful conduct, nor has she ever acted as a recruiter for Sean Combs or any other individual. Any media outlet that repeats these malicious, unhinged fabrications will face immediate and ruinous financial litigation. But then came the second unexpected twist that completely destroyed Ellen's legal defense and changed the entire narrative. Less than 6 hours after Ellen's legal team issued their threat, an anonymous hacktivist collective operating under the moniker The Sub-Basement Leaks dumped a 400-megabyte encrypted folder onto a public dark web forum. The folder did not contain video files. It contained raw, unedited financial metadata extracted directly from the red drive Lori Harvey allegedly smuggled out of Star Island. The leaked files revealed a hidden, offshore shell corporation registered in the Cayman Islands under the name Blue Dory Enterprises, LLC. When independent forensic accountants and financial journalists cross-referenced the bank routing numbers associated with Blue Dory Enterprises, they made a discovery that sent a cold shiver down the spine of the entire global financial sector. Between 2014 and 2019, Blue Dory Enterprises received 47 separate, direct wire transfers from a subsidiary holding company controlled entirely by Sean Diddy Combs. The amounts were staggering: $250,000, $500,000, $750,000. And the dates of those wire transfers, every single one of them corresponded to the exact morning after a major young female celebrity, an actress, a pop star, or an Olympic athlete, made their debut appearance on The Ellen DeGeneres Show. Ellen wasn't just doing favors for a powerful friend. She wasn't just turning a blind eye to Diddy's debauchery. According to the leaked financial ledger, Ellen DeGeneres was allegedly operating a high-end, monetized bounty system. She was being paid a finder's fee for every vulnerable, high-profile target she successfully vetted on her daytime couch and delivered to the VIP elevators of Diddy's coastal mansions. The public realized with sickening clarity: the dancing, the laughing, the games of never have I ever played with nervous 20-year-old starlets on national television, it was all an audition. It was a live broadcast catalog for Sean Combs, and Lori Harvey's refusal to play along hadn't just bruised Ellen's ego. It had cost the daytime queen a multi-million-dollar payday and threatened to expose a global financial laundering operation. The cultural explosion that followed the release of the Blue Dory financial ledgers can only be described as a complete societal reckoning. Within hours, the physical reality of Ellen DeGeneres' life in exile began to collapse around her. In the quiet, picturesque English village of Great Two in Oxfordshire, where Ellen and her wife Portia de Rossi had retreated to live a life of aristocratic seclusion among British royalty and billionaire hedge fund managers, the peace was violently shattered. Hundreds of anti-trafficking protesters, independent journalists, and outraged British citizens descended upon the wrought iron gates of Ellen's £15 million country manor, carrying massive banners reading, "Extradite the gatekeeper," "Justice for Lori," and "Check the basement." The crowd blocked the narrow country lanes, chanting through megaphones day and night. Local Thames Valley police were forced to establish a 24-hour riot cordon around the perimeter of the estate after several protesters breached the outer stone wall, attempting to launch camera drones over Ellen's private gardens. Paparazzi telephoto lenses captured fleeting, shocking glimpses of Portia de Rossi pacing near a second-story window, looking gaunt, sleep-deprived, and allegedly screaming into a cellular phone while clutching a glass of liquor. Ellen herself was nowhere to be seen, reportedly barricaded inside a reinforced subterranean panic room installed beneath the Manor's wine cellar shortly after their arrival in the UK. Back in the United States, the mainstream media could no longer ignore the firestorm. Cable news networks that had spent decades coddling Hollywood elites were forced to address the scandal during primetime broadcasts. On CNN, legal analysts debated the mechanics of the US-UK extradition treaty, questioning whether federal prosecutors in the Southern District of New York were preparing a sealed superseding indictment that would force British authorities to drag Ellen DeGeneres out of her Cotswolds fortress in handcuffs. If these wire transfers from Sean Combs' holding companies to Blue Dory Enterprises are authenticated by the IRS Criminal Investigation Division, we are looking at federal money laundering, conspiracy to commit sex trafficking, and wire fraud, stated former federal prosecutor Nancy Grace during a fiery panel discussion. Ellen DeGeneres can buy all the chickens and sheep she wants in England, but the FBI does not care about your daytime Emmy Awards when there is a paper trail showing you sold human beings for $500,000 a head. The division within Hollywood itself turned into an outright vicious civil war. A desperate, heavily coordinated counteroffensive was launched by a small cabal of Ellen's remaining ultra-wealthy loyalists. Oprah Winfrey, long considered Ellen's closest confidant and media mentor, suddenly disabled all comments on her Instagram and YouTube channels after her pages were flooded with hundreds of thousands of messages, demanding to know what she witnessed at Diddy's parties. Meanwhile, several prominent PR mouthpieces and establishment entertainment journalists began publishing coordinated opinion pieces in Variety and Deadline, attempting to gaslight the public. They framed Rob Schneider's revelations and the leaked financial documents as a dangerous, misogynistic QAnon-adjacent smear campaign, designed to destroy powerful LGBTQ+ women in media. They claimed the Blue Dory ledger was an elaborate AI-generated forgery created by political extremists to distract from the upcoming presidential election cycle. The public wasn't buying it. The gaslighting only fueled the collective rage. Independent creators, TikTok sleuths, and YouTube documentarians began pulling archival footage from the past 15 years, compiling damning video essays that racked up tens of millions of views. They highlighted dozens of instances where Ellen aggressively pushed alcohol on visibly uncomfortable, sober, or underage guests. They examined the infamous moment where Ellen forced Mariah Carey to drink champagne on live television to prove she wasn't pregnant. A pregnancy Carey subsequently miscarried just weeks later. Every cruel prank, every forced confession, every moment of sadistic psychological manipulation on her show was recontextualized as the behavior of a clinical, calculated predator. Then, a massive blow came from inside the music industry itself. Jaguar Wright, the veteran R&B singer and fearless industry whistleblower, who had been warning the public about Diddy, Jay-Z, and Hollywood's trafficking rings for years, appeared on a live, unfiltered YouTube stream that attracted over 800,000 concurrent viewers. Wearing dark sunglasses and speaking with chilling authority, Wright confirmed every single word of Rob Schneider's warning. "Rob didn't even tell you the worst part," Jaguar Wright yelled into her microphone, slamming her hand onto her desk. "Y'all think Lori Harvey was the only one? Lori was just the only one smart enough and brave enough to fight back and grab that flash drive. Why do you think Ellen really ended her show in 2022? It wasn't because of no toxic workplace complaints. Stop being stupid. She ended the show because Diddy's head of security flipped and started talking to the feds. Ellen knew the subpoenas were coming. She packed her bags, liquidated her California real estate, and ran to England because she knew the red drive was out there in the wild." As Wright's explosive broadcast echoed across the internet, a chilling development occurred inside the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, where Sean Diddy Combs was sitting in a solitary confinement cell awaiting trial. Through his high-priced criminal defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo, Diddy released a cryptic, deeply unsettling two-sentence public statement addressed to the media, a statement that sounded less like a legal defense and more like a mafia death threat, aimed directly across the Atlantic Ocean at a certain blonde talk show host hiding in England. Mr. Combs is fully prepared to fight these baseless federal charges in an open courtroom where all the facts, and all the participants, will be brought into the light. When the curtain finally falls on this circus, The daytime queen will find out that the crown she wears is made of thorns, and she will not be allowed to watch the fire from the safety of the audience. The message was unmistakable. Diddy was not going to go down alone. If the federal government offered him a plea deal or threatened him with life without parole, he was entirely prepared to turn state's evidence and drag Ellen DeGeneres into the abyss with him. The gatekeeper was about to become the primary target. Just as the public convinced itself that the walls had completely closed in on Ellen DeGeneres, that it was only a matter of days before Interpol issued a red notice and federal marshals escorted her onto a government transport plane back to New York, the entire narrative violently fractured. At 11:47 p.m. last night, Rob Schneider was scheduled to appear for a live, follow-up interview on a major independent news network in Austin, Texas, to reveal the names of 3 other high-profile actresses listed on the Blue Dory financial ledgers. He never made it into the studio. According to eyewitnesses and terrifying security camera footage obtained by local Texas news outlets, as Schneider's black Lincoln Navigator pulled into the rear parking garage of the broadcast facility, 2 unmarked, blacked-out Cadillac Escalades with government-exempt license plates suddenly boxed his vehicle in. 4 men wearing tactical gear, balaclavas, and carrying suppressed automatic weapons exited the Escalades. They didn't identify themselves as FBI. They didn't show badges. They forcefully extracted Schneider's private security driver, ripped open the rear passenger door, and seized Schneider's personal briefcase, 2 encrypted cell phones, and a portable hard drive before slashing the Navigator's tires and vanishing into the night. The Austin Police Department issued a baffled statement claiming they had no record of any federal or state law enforcement operation at that location. Schneider was left physically unharmed, but visibly shaken to his core. He was immediately rushed to an undisclosed safe house by private security contractors. Less than 2 hours after the terrifying ambush in Austin, an anonymous encrypted dead man's switch, a pre-programmed digital release set up by Schneider in the event of his capture or intimidation, triggered across multiple secure servers in Switzerland and Iceland. The release did not contain more financial ledgers. It contained a single 2-minute audio recording. It was a voicemail left on Rob Schneider's personal encrypted phone just 72 hours ago. The voice on the recording was breathless, echoing slightly as if speaking from inside a moving vehicle or a public restroom. It was the unmistakable, trembling voice of Lori Harvey. And what she said in those 2 minutes has completely shattered the entire foundation of this investigation, leaving federal prosecutors, investigative journalists, and millions of viewers frozen in absolute horror. "Rob, it's Lori," the voice whispers, her breathing ragged and panicked. "I saw your video. You shouldn't have done that. You don't understand what you've stepped into. You think Ellen was the top of the pyramid? You think she was just recruiting for Sean? Rob, listen to me very carefully. Sean Combs was the distraction. He was the muscle. He was the fall guy they set up to take the hit if the operation ever got exposed." A heavy metallic thud echoes in the background of the recording, followed by Lori muffling the receiver for several seconds before returning, her voice dropping to a terrified, desperate register. "And here is the final, devastating twist that changes everything you thought you knew. When I ran out of that sub-basement on Star Island in 2018, Lori whispers, fighting back tears, "I wasn't the only girl in that room. There was someone else on that circular bed. Another actress. Someone younger than me. Someone who was just starting out on a massive television network. I tried to grab her hand, Rob. I tried to pull her toward the elevator with me. But she yanked her arm away. She looked at me, smiled, and said, 'Why would I leave? Ellen promised me an Oscar.'" Lori pauses, her voice cracking as a siren wails faintly in the distance of the recording. "That girl didn't escape, Rob. She stayed. She did everything they asked her to do on those cameras. And within 12 months, her career exploded. She got the lead roles. She got the massive beauty contracts. She became the biggest sweetheart in Hollywood. And now she is the one running Ellen's network. Ellen didn't flee to England to hide, Rob. She went to England to manage the international accounts. She handed the domestic recruitment pipeline over to the girl who stayed in the bed. The new gatekeeper is already operating right in front of everyone's faces, hosting red carpets and winning awards, and nobody suspects her. The recording clicks and goes dead. The internet has been plunged into a state of absolute, paralyzing hysteria. Who is the girl who stayed? Which current Hollywood megastar, currently sitting at the top of the box office and dominating red carpets, is secretly operating as the new Ellen DeGeneres? Which beloved, innocent-looking A-list actress is currently luring the next generation of young talent into the sub-basements of the elite? And even more terrifying, within 30 minutes of Laura's voicemail leaking online, international flight tracking radars detected a private, unregistered Gulfstream G650 taking off from a private airstrip just 12 miles from Ellen DeGeneres' Cotswolds estate. The aircraft's transponder was manually disabled over the English Channel. Its destination is completely unknown. At the exact same moment, federal agents in Zurich, Switzerland, executed a high-stakes, midnight raid on a subterranean private bank vault, breaching a high-security safety deposit box registered jointly under two names, Sean Combs, and a completely redacted female name that federal prosecutors are refusing to release to the public under an emergency national security gag order. The dominoes are not just falling. The entire house of cards is exploding in real time. The hunters have become the hunted. Lori Harvey has reportedly gone completely off the grid, severing contact with her management and family. Rob Schneider is under armed guard in an undisclosed bunker, and somewhere flying 40,000 feet above the Atlantic Ocean in a pitch-black jet, the Queen of Daytime is making her next move. This is no longer a scandal. This is a fight for survival. And the worst is yet to come. Are you sitting there in absolute shock right now? Because my hands are literally shaking as I read these updates to you. The mainstream media is doing everything in their power to suppress Lori Harvey's leaked voicemail. They are shadow banning Rob Schneider's name across every major platform, and they are desperately trying to protect the identity of the girl who stayed. The new Hollywood gatekeeper who is running this sick operation right under our noses. We cannot let them bury this truth. I need every single person watching this video to go to the comments section right now. Who do you think Lori Harvey was talking about? Which young Hollywood megastar's career mysteriously skyrocketed right after October 2018? Drop your theories, drop the names, and let's expose this entire network before they can scrub the internet clean. If you want the uncensored truth that cable news is terrified to broadcast, you must smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell right now. Turn on all notifications, because our channel is under constant threat of being taken down by entertainment lawyers, and you cannot afford to miss what's coming next. In our next emergency update, we are uncovering the leaked flight logs of that mysterious Gulfstream jet that just smuggled Ellen out of the UK, and we are revealing the unredacted contents of that Zurich bank vault. The mask is off. The empire is falling. Stay loud, stay vigilant, and I will see you in the next explosive update.